What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 17, Episode 14, New Groom, Who Dis. So we finally made it to the wedding of Michael and Chloe. Thank God. So the only thing that I want to talk about of what happened before that actual wedding was when Michael was in that little back room where the guys play pool and stuff, where there's like a pool table. Brandon and Orion are the only grooms left standing that are able to come in and give him some type of advice. So, because of the fact that both of their marriages have completely bombed, the only advice that they could possibly give was some old, generic, tired, dusty advice about, be yourself, go with the flow, etc. So, I'm just thinking at this, when I was watching this scene, I was just like, man, how far we've fallen, because poor Cameron is in the hospital with heart flutters or heart palpitations. He's having some kind of surgery. I just cannot believe that Cameron is he cannot be having open heart surgery. Like, what kind of surgery is he having? So he's having some type of surgery regarding his heart. He's in the hospital laid up. For whatever reason, Austin and Becca, they had a family trip or something. They had to go visit Austin's grandmother, I think. So they already had plans and they couldn't make it. And all we have now is Brendan and Orion, the worst husbands of the season, to give this poor man advice. Absolutely horrific. That's the only thing I want to talk about before the wedding. Now let's get to the actual wedding. So Michael had mentioned that in his previous wedding, he had noticed like the faces of the bridesmaids. And then when that particular bride came down the aisle, he noticed something in her facial expression that kind of indicated to him that she was not happy. So this time around, he did the same exact thing. He was looking at the bridesmaids' faces because he was telling us that, I'm going to look at the bridesmaids and the family members that are sitting in the audience, and I'm going to see if I can pick up on any clues on how they feel about me or how they think that, she's going to feel about me. And he also said that when his bride would come down the aisle, he said he was going to, look at her real carefully, look at her eyes real carefully to see exactly what her initial reaction to him is, because that first bride must have given off some really concerning looks when she came walking down the aisle, because he kind of like had a feeling that she was not feeling him. So thank God when Chloe came down the aisle, she was happy to see him. He was happy to see her. It was a good connection, a good match. The attraction was there for both of them. And I knew that it was going to be a good sign when it came time for them to kiss, and she grabbed his face and kissed him. Like, she took that initiative and she showed assertiveness when she grabbed his face and kissed him, like she was really feeling him. So I felt really good about that. Unless Chloe's playing us, unless Chloe is doing what a lot of these people do on this show, which is they're one way in front of the camera and then behind the scenes are completely different. But for what it was, it looked like, she was happy with who they matched her with. So I was really happy to see that. So moving on from there, after the ceremony, she tells us that she's really attracted to her husband. Michael says that, Michael told her actually when they had that first opportunity to have a conversation with each other, Michael told Chloe that, I asked the experts for three main things and you possess all three of them, which is intelligence, silliness, and sweetness. So I'm okay, good. They got that right. Thank God. Let's, put a check on that. They got that part right. Cause she is silly. I didn't think that she had it in her, but Chloe is, she does have that silliness. She does have that sense of humor. She does have that playfulness. They also have animals in common. They both own dogs. She owns older dogs. He owns younger dogs, but they both love dogs. So that's also a good match. But then let's not forget that, that one season, the Houston season, was it Houston? No, it wasn't Houston. I don't know what season it was. Whatever season it was. When we had Justin and Alexa, they both love dogs too. And that ended up being a big fiasco. So Chloe ends up meeting the rest of the Married at First Sight crew. And they were really welcoming to her, extremely welcoming. They're really sweet to her, but this is a bitter bunch. This is a very bitter bunch. I don't know if Chloe knows the history of these other couples and where they stand in their marriages. I don't know if she could sense any kind of tension, especially between Lauren and Orion, Brennan and Emily. There was no tension with Claire because, you know, she done drove her husband to the damn hospital. She stressed that man so much. He's in the damn hospital getting his heart fixed. So I don't know if Chloe picked up on any of that, and I don't know how much Michael even knows about where they stand as couples. So yeah, we'll soon find out later. So Chloe keeps talking about on how natural things are between her and Michael for meeting for the first time. You know, she says that things are flowing real natural. There's no nervousness, there's no awkwardness between them, and it's like, okay, it just gets better and better. The more that we see them interact with one another, the better it gets. You know, they actually like each other. There's actually an attraction there for one another. And so I'm like very cautiously, very, very cautiously optimistic. So at the reception, when we get to the reception, the guests start clinking their glasses, and this means that they want the bride and groom to kiss, and there was like no hesitation. I remember there being hesitation, I think, with Claire and Cameron, and possibly Brendan and Emily. I'm not sure. But I remember with the other couples, there was like some serious hesitation when the guests began to clink their glasses. Then the Married at First Sight crew, they all have their own table. They all sat at the same dinner table, and we had Lauren sitting next to Orion. And so this is where Orion asks Lauren, you know, how have you been? Are you doing okay? And, you know, she's been doing fantastic. She's been doing absolutely great. She looked fantastic. Lauren was just a sight of beauty. Her dress, the color of that dress, her makeup, her hair, everything about Lauren was just so classic, so clean, and just so pretty. So then he asks her if she'll have a conversation with him before the night is over. And I think initially she said no. I think she said no. And then she was like, you know what, I'm good. Kind of like there was nothing for us to talk about. You know, I've moved past all of that. I'm in a much better place now. Peace, light, and happiness. So then they talk about the issues that they had encountered in their wedding. And Lauren says that she completely acted out of her character when she was married to Orion. And she was referring to that particular fight that they had where she took her ring off and threw it at him and said that she wanted a divorce. She said that's really unlike her. That's not her usual character. But then she explained it by saying that she carried into this marriage, she carried with her a lot of trauma from her past relationships. And so there were certain things that I guess he would say to her that kind of triggered her and like removed her from her normal self. And he says the same thing also. He says, you know, when I said that, you know, you were something about how he claims in his mind, in his ears, he remembers her yelling at him. I don't ever remember Lauren raising her voice, but maybe this was when it was off camera or something. But he says something about, you know, during the times when you would yell at me, that would really trigger me because, you know, my mom was yelled at by her boyfriends or something. I don't know. Something about women being yelled at or women yelling at, or something about that he carried into his marriage with Lauren. And so like whenever she would elevate her voice, it made him feel extremely uncomfortable. So they both agree that the marriage itself was not successful, but they both came out as successful people. Like they came out stronger after this whole thing was said and done. The one thing that they did not talk about, which was the cause of their marriage failing, was the race issue. They did not bring that up. Now, Orion did apologize to Lauren for something. I forgot what it was. He did apologize, but he did not apologize for making her seem like she was a racist. Because he was the one that had indicated that, you know, she needed to educate herself on races, or educate herself on indigenous people, that she had a lot to learn. Basically, he called her out for being racist because of that comment that she made when they were in Mexico on their honeymoon. And, you know, he had asked her, have you ever said any derogatory terms about indigenous people. And then she said whatever she said that, really set him off. And that was the beginning of the end right then and there. And I was surprised that that was not brought up. And I was actually surprised that he did not even want to apologize for like making it seem like she was racist or prejudiced or whatever. But they didn't even touch that subject at all. Then he asked her for a hug and she gave in and hugged him. And I guess she just had to show that she wasn't bitter or didn't harbor any hard feelings towards Orion. So moving on from there. So then we see Michael and Chloe, they're cutting the cake. They're being really silly and playful with one another. They're wiping icing on each other's faces. He was licking the icing off of her wrist, just being very playful, very lovey-dovey. They kissed a lot. And Claire is observing all of this. And I guess it was making her feel some kind of way because she said that she was feeling very reflective about her relationship with Cameron. And so I guess she kind of wants that old thing back or something, because she ended up walking away from everybody and she got on the phone and she was attempting to call Cameron, but Cameron ain't got no time for her. He did not answer the phone at all. He was like, let that go to voicemail. And so she left a message saying that she missed him, saying that it wasn't the same without him. And just all this kind of stuff, which I'm like, girl, do you want him back? Like, what's going on? Let us know what's really going on here. Are you like having second thoughts about leaving him or divorcing him or whatever the hell is going on between y'all right now? I think they're separated. So it seems like she was just really missing her damn man and wishing that he was there with her at this wedding. So after that, we see that Chloe is talking with Mike's friends, and they first ask her, what do you think about his style? And she was like, I love it. I love his style. So she likes his, his eccentricness, I guess, his individuality. She loves it. I guess Chloe's one of those very reserved women, I guess, who likes a little crazy, who likes that bad boy, even though I wouldn't say that, Michael is a bad boy, but she likes somebody completely different and opposite from her. She's enjoying that in him. And so she likes his style. She has no issues with that at all. Then they asked her if she wanted to have children, and she said no. She never saw herself having kids. Now she's open to fostering, but she doesn't want to have her own biological children. And of course, the show wanted us to think that this could be a red flag, because what if Michael wants children? But then on the other side of the room, the same question comes up from her people to him, and he tells them the same thing. He's like, no, I never really desired having children, but if my wife wants to have children, I would do that for her. And he's also open to fostering and adoption as well. So he's like, it doesn't matter. Whatever my wife wants, I'll give it to her. But like instinctively, no, I don't want to have children. So they're on the same page with that. So I'm really, really glad that the experts got that part right. Okay, so then Michael then tells her family and her friends that he got left at the altar. He was matched before and he got left at the altar. And they were like, they gave him words of encouragement. They were like, oh, okay, you must be really strong to go through this whole process all over again and whatever else. If I was Michael, I would not have brought that up with her family. I would have kept that to myself and allowed Chloe to tell them whenever the time was right. I for sure would not have brought that up at the reception, because the reception is just about celebrating him and Chloe's union and the beginning of their relationship together, and not bringing up old crap that didn't work out, crap that really doesn't matter. So if I was Michael, I would have kept that to myself. So I don't know if he was like, like seeking sympathy from them or something. I don't know why he brought that up, but he did. And, they were very positive with him with that. Let me see Michael's final. Okay, Michael tells her family. Okay, we talked about that. There was a scene where Chloe asked the girls, she was asking Lauren, Emily, and Claire, like, if they were such a good match, why didn't the experts see this to begin with and match them initially? And the girls were like, oh, everything happens for a reason. You were meant to come into his life at this particular time. Y'all were meant to meet now instead of then. So just take it for what it is. It's a positive thing that, this is how y'all were meant to meet. What else can you say, right? They can't be like, because they're dodo brains. They don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're idiots, and they're just matching whoever with whoever. So of course they had to say something encouraging to her. So then it comes time for everybody, to have fun, let loose, start dancing. And Emily wanted to dance with Brennan. She even asked him, hey, do you want to go dance? Of course he said no, because Brennan has turned into a damn mannequin. Okay, at some point this man has turned into a mannequin right in front of our eyes, because he doesn't want to react. He doesn't want to act like a human being in front of the cameras, because he's so worried about how he's coming off on camera. He's so worried about how the public is going to be perceiving him, that he's completely shut down. And he's like completely like just I don't know. He's turned off. Somebody shut him off. He's just completely shut off. There was a button on him and someone switched it to off. And this is the Brennan that we're getting, where he doesn't ever want to let his guard down. He's super, super cautious about every move that he makes, every word that he says, that he's turned into a damn mannequin. So she's like, okay, fine. So she goes and she dances with everybody else on the dance floor, because she's going to have a good time. Emily's going to have a good time. And as she's dancing, I guess she knocked over somebody's wine glass or something. I don't know what happened, but she's dancing, a glass breaks, and Brennan is looking very frustrated, as if, like she's, dancing on tables and hanging from the chandelier or something. The girl was just dancing. I don't know. She accidentally knocked something over and it shattered. I don't even know if it was her that did it. I don't know what was going on, but for whatever reason, Brennan looked really frustrated with her. So at the end of the night, the bride and groom, they leave. They get into their car that's going to be taking them to the honeymoon suite, right? So as they're getting into the car, I noticed that Chloe put her hand on Michael's inner thigh. And I just absolutely loved that, because it shows that, she's initiating physical contact, and it shows that there is chemistry, attraction, all that good stuff between them. So I was really happy to see this. It's wonderful to see. And we're not going to talk about the teaser that they showed us for next week's episode, where they're having a conversation and she starts crying and says that she can't do this. We're going to act like that didn't even happen, that we didn't even see that. We're going to live in the moment, because it's very rare that we have a couple on Married at First Sight that seem to really kick it off in the very, very beginning. So it was just wonderful to see a couple's relationship blossom, and it was just beautiful. That's all I can say. I've been so deprived of any positivity on this show that I'm absolutely going crazy over Chloe and Michael. Cautiously though, extremely cautiously. So moving on from there, they get to the honeymoon suite. He carries her over the threshold, and she's telling us in her little confessional that she's thinking about, the night ahead, and just thinking about it gets her all hot and heavy and bothered. But they end up just cuddling for the night. Well, at least that's what they want us to think. They end up cuddling for the night, and that was the end of the episode. It was a really cute episode. It just got interrupted whenever we had to look at Brennan and Orion. Other than that, this was a really good, this is one of the better episodes this whole entire season, and we're 14 episodes in. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.